Yes, the pain of fueling up the tractor. At least the little TC is short enough that we can let gravity do all the work. We don't have to feel the pain of pumping also. It still costs the same, but we use it slower when you gotta pump. You gotta have that work behind it too. See, the gravity fuel tank doesn't work very well for, say, the TW or the 1086. They're too tall. Oh, good, we didn't need much, but the fuel gauge isn't the best working on this tractor. And because of the design of the fuel neck, it curves and the fuel tank's actually back here. It's hard to use a universal fuel gauge on this little guy. Okay, Brennan, ready to roll?
Drive, you want to ride?
I'll ride. You'll see where we're going. Well, this isn't OSHA approved. It's got a foot throttle if you need it or prefer. Well, we'll see a bit of progression. That's the last planting of sweet corn. Today is June 24th. That was put in last Saturday. That's been the ground 5 days. This is the first planting made in the middle of May. I guess it came up. Oh, we need to go in right here. Never mind. Somebody's got to pay attention. It's supposed to be me, but I'm too busy filming. And way over yonder, closer to where Dad's rototilling for pumpkins, that's the second planting. It's a little more happy with life, but not much, because it got heavily rained on right after it was planted. And I got to give Brennan a crash course on this. You're gonna need a really low gear.
I'm in first.
Put it in medium 1, because you're in high range right now. This little bank here on the road's a real bee sting. Yeah. Or low 1, that'll be really slow. That'll get you there. You feel like a mountain goat climbing up a mountain yet? Yeah. Our one front end weight isn't enough. You're gonna need your brakes. Are they locked? Okay, you may have to cheat and try not to get down on the pavement.
I'm probably going down the side a little bit more.
Yes. So Dad got this done already. And typically, I go down and back on the same row. Because theoretically it's offset, so you'll be tight on this side. When you turn around and come back, you'll be tight on the other side. And these tiller heads have a dead spot in the center because of how they're driven. So hopefully you offset that to till.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I think.
Hugging the corn in the middle on the right, or left and right side of it.
I think I've got it set up that you're eyeballing with your right eye about down this side of the hood.
Okay.
You may have to adjust that, use your best judgment. You're probably going to want to be, I usually do this in medium 1, but you can go however slow you want. I wouldn't go any faster than medium 1. Okay. PTO, it's just like an 8N. You got to have the clutch shoved in. And your 3-point is on the other side. And probably throttle it up to at least 2,000 RPM. If that feels fast, you can always pick a slower gear. It's up to you. See how good of a lesson I give. I've never taught anybody how to do this before. But that's the mid-mount PTO. You're spinning.
Okay.
It's like an 8N. It's dependent PTO. Should just drop it all the way down. Okay. Well, I've never had this perspective before, because typically, you know, I'm the one driving and I'm setting up the camera down in the corn row, doing something stupid, driving over it, whatever. So I've never been able to follow it, because, well, I don't know, Dad's doing something in the field. But today we're having a full tillage heyday. We're killing weeds, Dad's getting ready for pumpkins, and if we see the big TW over there, Uncle John's disking making a dust storm, which I need to see him shortly. And I'm about to jump on the soil finisher, put that on the 1086, and get some more ground ready to plant. So that way we can have the rest of our corn in today, hopefully, nice and late as usual. I mean, we got a little bit of rain. What day is it? It was Wednesday. We got 2/10 just south of us. They got their geese drowned. So we got lucky. The 2/10 was dried off in a couple hours, and we were back at it the next day, no problem. Some of this corn, we're definitely pushing our height on the corn thanks to the front weight. It's a very slow, relaxing job. You're doing pretty good. I mean, you just gotta watch the back. You'll get it. It takes a little bit to get a feel for it. You've had a couple times where you've been a little close. That ironworm was biting at the roots hard. So we've got two 24-inch tiller heads, which we're hoping we're running slightly offset on the row. To be able to get close on one side, come back and get close on the other. I don't know if we're getting this well enough to single row it. I like going down and back on the same row. I don't know. Out here, the spray did a pretty good job that we don't have too many weeds, but there's just a few we're trying to clean up while we can. And I always like to chew them up good. Like this velvet leaf, that got uprooted, that'll die, especially if we go a few days for it to dry up. There's so many times where I've had to cultivate the sweet corn and it's gonna rain that night. And so yeah, I stunted stuff, like that needs a second pass. That cocklebur didn't get uprooted. Neither did that one. So I end up, well, yeah, it slows the weeds down, but they get replanted essentially. That their day got messed up, but the water settled the dirt around the roots. So that's why that stuff still looks so clean. We've only had a couple tenths on it. It's been about a week. Try to stay out of the way. It's a very relaxing day. The TC30, probably really only about 25 horse at the drawbar, and that's stretching it. This is kind of more of, say, Japanese horsepower. TC30 was made by Shibara of Japan, which is like it was a Ford working partner. I don't know if they owned it, but all the little teeny tiny Fords were made by that company. And in my experience, have been fairly solid machines. There's plenty of them out there, and we've had to replace the PTO spread clutch in this because it just has an overrun. This one is a dependent PTO, and I've talked about this many times, that when you shove the clutch in, everything stops, which is dangerous on a bush hog because that would keep driving through the drive line, whereas this, well, it's like I said, it has that overrun clutch. I can't quite see from his perspective to see which side of the row he's on. I'm hoping like the sway links in there are tight enough to keep there from being too much side to side play. Now, unfortunately, the depth wheels I gotta have them set way out here because obviously there's no room to put them in there, and it'd be hard to put them on the backside. Must be a good rock right there. Let's see if we can find it. Didn't bring it to the surface at all. This was sprayed with a mix of atrazine and S-metachlor. Kinda late actually. The corn was already 6 inches tall when it was 6 inches tall, because some of it was not that tall. I'm sure you can see the height variation. Yeah, this is very unhappy out here. Very unhappy. Hopefully this gives you enough sign why I dislike rain. In this field, it looks flatter right here, but there's some roll. It rolls off that way. The back kind of rolls off towards that corner. It crests. It's not like it's pancake flat, which theoretically should be enough slope, right? Oh. Now these Multivators are still available. There's a company called Ford Distributing based out of Columbus, Ohio, that'll sell you a brand new one. I'm not quite sure who actually manufactures it. I mean, and or where the Multivator company is based out of. I've never found a booth at a farm show that was Multivators only. It was through this Ford Distributing company. It's very, say, a modular design. These are adjustable. Everything can be adjusted for row width. The widest heads might be 30 inches. I mean, this would be great if I had to cultivate corn and was going like full organic and wanted to play in the dirt all summer and try to kill weeds that way. I would definitely try to find a bigger one of these, just because I could get away with letting the weeds get much taller and not be out there cultivating every 10 days, because obviously we don't have the dry time to do that. It'd be near impossible. Yeah, this end of the field is a little bit annoying because of the drop off to the road. And oftentimes, I mean, there's not too much corn planted in that set. And probably that stuff wasn't going to do much anyways based on how yellow it is. Well, it looks like he's doing pretty good here. I got to get to doing other stuff. I think we've seen enough of the Multivator. We've seen the TC do plenty of things. All the way from mowing grass. I've raked hay with it before. Haven't pulled the planter, haven't pulled a baler. That would be interesting though. It's really designed to replace like an 8N. And if you had a small old square baler, I'm sure an 8N would power that okay. It'd be more about having enough weight to control the baler and the wagon. It's got enough horsepower, especially when you think they only put little Wisconsins on the self-powered balers. Well, we're gonna wrap up this portion of the video. We'll have a fun day farming, and hopefully you guys don't get drowned with rain, and if you need rain, take all of mine, please. What color would you say those leaves are? Definitely not green. Must be a variety change. This isn't pioneer corn, and it's not like it's April either with cold nights. Typically you figure the purple's showing stress. And if we look over here, we can see the population variations thanks to the attempts at geese drowning. I bet this is a different variety over here. Some varieties are tough and some varieties are less tough in the sweet corn department. We select based on which ones seem to survive the best around here, and obviously try to base flavor on that, but you got to have something survive first before you can worry about it tasting any good.